What's going on, guys? This is Rob, and we are back again with another installment of our Beyond Omega Level series, where we break down the most powerful characters in all of comics. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about a pretty recent addition to the Marvel Universe, but one that is definitely one of the most powerful characters introduced in recent memory, the Black Winter. Now, the Black Winter was created by Donny and first appeared in Silver Surfer Black #4 in 2019, or at least that's the first time the Black Winter is mentioned. So Silver Surfer Black is a pretty wild story where the Silver Surfer is sent basically back to the beginning of time, where he encounters Null, the god of the symbiotes. In order to kill Null, he basically has to manifest a new star into being, which causes him to have to expend all the remaining power cosmic at his disposal. Of course, Null's not destroyed, he's just temporarily defeated. He then encounters a young Ego, the living planet, that has a foreign object lodged into his core. And after journeying to Ego's core to retrieve the object, the Surfer discovers that mysterious object is the incubator of Galan, the last survivor of the 6th iteration of the Marvel Universe that would eventually become Galactus. I mean, at this point, I should probably explain that the current Marvel Universe that we see in comics being published by Marvel right now is the 8th version of the Marvel Universe. So it's been destroyed and rebuilt multiple times. And so Galactus had originated as Galan in the 6th universe, and he was basically a scientist, and he knew a lot of stuff. You know, Galan knew all kinds of things, and the question has to be asked, right? How did this guy know so much stuff? Well, I'll tell you exactly how he knew so much stuff. He had Skillshare. Yes, he did. This video is sponsored by Skillshare. So, Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creative and curious people, where you can explore new skills, develop existing interests, and get lost in creativity. Now, my favorite class at the moment is by John Lagamarcino, which is called How to Make a Podcast, Plan, Record, and Launch with Success, because I'm working on a super secret project behind the scenes. And over the course of this, I have learned seemingly everything there is that you need to know about how to launch a podcast. It quite literally lives up to its name, because I haven't really been super knowledgeable about podcasts. But if you're in the market to learn how to create a podcast, then courses like this are perfect for you guys. So the first 1,000 of you all who click the link in the description will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare, so you can start exploring your creativity today, and you can make 2022 a year of new learning, growth, and connection through creativity. But back to our video. Knowing that the destruction that Galactus would eventually cause and the billions of lives that would be lost to satisfy his hunger, the Silver Surfer ultimately decided that he was going to destroy the incubator before Galactus could even be born. But he stopped from doing so by Uwacha the Watcher, who explains that Galactus must exist to maintain the balance in the universe. So instead of killing Galactus, the Surfer tries to read the mind of Galan, who's basically asleep inside the incubator, and he sees the destruction of Galactus's reality, the 6th version of the Marvel Universe, and he calls the force responsible for this destruction the Black Winter. So the first time we even hear of the Black Winter, we know that it is responsible for the destruction of an entire universe and the trillions of souls contained within. Now, the next time we hear of the Black Winter is in the first issue of Donny Cates and Nick Klein's legendary Thor run, which is just freaking phenomenal if you're not reading it right now, which began in 2020. Now, this takes place after Thor has succeeded his father Odin to the throne and rules Asgard as its Allfather. Not long into the issue, Galactus quite literally falls from the sky and crashes into Asgard. Just as Thor is about to smash his face in with his hammer, of course, Galactus tells Thor that he came to ask for his help because something he calls the Star Plague, the Great Black Winter, was coming. Now, with Galactus's coming, Asgard was blanketed with a constant blizzard, and Yggdrasil, the life tree, actually began to die. And so Asgard is then visited by the Silver Surfer, who tells Thor what the Black Winter is, and that it's the entity that destroyed Galactus's universe, and also explains that the Black Winter serves as a very similar role to Galactus himself. The difference, however, is that while Galactus feeds on planets, the Black Winter feeds on entire realities, and that Galactus was the only one who had ever survived an attack from the Black Winter. Now, Thor and Silver Surfer then devise a plan to accompany Galactus to 5 planets that the Surfer had hidden from him for years, because if Galactus had consumed them, he would become more powerful than anybody could have imagined. And so when they tell Galactus their plan, we learn an additional power that the Black Winter possesses, which is that when someone gazes into the Black Winter, they see their true death. And furthermore, that Galactus himself has gazed into the Black Winter twice. Now, the first time he saw the destruction of his reality. The second time he saw Thor. So he basically says that he and Thor will defeat the Black Winter together, and makes Thor his Herald of Thunder, which was awesome, creating arguably the most powerful version version of Thor that we've seen due to the fact that he not only has access to the Thor force as the Allfather of Asgard, but has also been imbued with a power cosmic. So really, this video is almost like taking two Beyond Omega level characters in one episode. But following this, we see the Black Winter targeting a universe that looks suspiciously similar to the DC universe, given that there is a building that looks like the Daily Planet and the superheroes that are obviously supposed to be the Justice League, described as Sun God, a god of emerald light, a god of dark, and god of the ocean, and a god of plot armor. But their combined efforts are not enough to stop the Black Winter from basically devouring their reality. Now, when it's done with the DC universe, the Black Winter sets its sights on the Marvel universe, where Thor and Galactus are traveling the cosmos in search of the planets Galactus needs to devour to face the Black Winter. Now, the first of these planets, which is called Clips, turns out to be inhabited, and Thor manages to get its inhabitants to safety before Galactus consumes it. The next planet they go to is uninhabited. Thor is able to evacuate the third one, and the sentient core of the fourth planet willingly gives its life to fuel Galactus in defense of the universe. And so the inhabitants of the fifth planet, called Cairo, refuse to be evacuated, and before Thor can convince them, Galactus just starts consuming their planet because the Black Winter has arrived in the Marvel universe, and he basically needs the planet's power immediately. So Thor unleashes a blast from Mjolnir, and keep in mind, he's also in possession of the power cosmic at this point, but it only delays the Black Winter by 14 seconds, which just shows us how insanely powerful the Black Winter is. Now, Thor and Galactus battle this thing, but it's not long before the entity turns its attention to Thor with the goal of showing him how he will die. Now, he shows Thor all of the enemies that he's faced over the years: Gorr the God Butcher, Loki, Mangog, Surtur, pretty much any Thor villain you can think of. But Thor summons all of his power in one final God blast in a desperate attempt to hurt the Black Winter, and the blast has been said to have made the Black Winter bleed, although it doesn't seem to do much damage. Now, when the Black Winter tells Thor he will show him the way his universe ends, and shows him himself as he appears after becoming Galactus's herald, he then reveals the true purpose that brought him to the Marvel universe in the first place. He's not really there to destroy the universe, but to collect his herald, Galactus. So yeah, we learned that Galactus was spared by the Black Winter, and the Black Winter is responsible for his transformation from Galan of Ta into Galactus because his purpose is to serve as his herald of the Black Winter. And so we know that any entity that's able to have Galactus serve as his herald has to be insanely powerful, which really begs the question, how would Franklin Richards fare? Because technically during Hickman's Fantastic Four run, Franklin Richards turned Galactus into his own herald. But once Thor finds out that Galactus has been using him as a pawn, he's furious and then attacks him. Now, despite the fact that Galactus is more powerful than he'd ever been, thanks to the energy from the planets he consumed, Thor's able to topple him with a blast from Mjolnir, and then things get really crazy as Thor is actually able to steal Galactus's power and then pronounces judgment on him for the destruction he'd caused and uses the power he'd taken to strike Galactus down. So when I say this is arguably the strongest version of Thor that we've seen, I was not exaggerating, but that's not even the most impressive thing that we see Thor do here. When the Black Winter tries to take Galactus with him, Thor refuses and literally turns Galactus into a bomb that releases the entirety of the power cosmic and the energy of all the planets Galactus had devoured and destroys the Black Winter itself. So yeah, you guys really get two Beyond Omega level characters in one in this video, but it's kind of impossible to explain one of them without the other, you know what I mean? So I figured I would just make this video by explaining both the Black Winter and Thor at the same time. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will catch you all later. Peace.